The one trait that creates lasting success isn't talent, intelligence, opportunity, or even luck. It's consistency, the quiet, steady commitment to showing up, even when motivation fades, even when progress feels slow, even when no one is watching. Success doesn't come from doing big things once. It comes from doing small things repeatedly until they grow into something powerful. Most people start strong but lose energy when results don't appear quickly. The ones who succeed are the ones who keep going long after the excitement wears off. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't give instant gratification. Instead, it's built through everyday choices, the decision to practice, to learn, to improve, to push through discomfort, to keep your word to yourself. It means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel inspired or not, while others are waiting. For the perfect moment or the perfect mindset, consistent people create momentum simply by moving forward, even in small ways. What consistency really builds is identity. When you show up for your goals day after day, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop viewing yourself as someone who tries and fails, and you start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That shift in identity is what strengthens discipline, confidence, and resilience. You no longer rely on emotional waves to guide your actions because you know who you are. You're someone who keeps going. Every dream you have, whether it's building a career, mastering a skill, improving your health, or transforming your mindset, requires consistency more than anything else. Not perfection, not speed, not brilliance, just the commitment to keep taking steps. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel tired, but as long as you keep moving, you're winning. The small efforts compound. What feels insignificant today becomes powerful months or years from now. Consistency also teaches you patience. It forces you to understand that real success grows quietly, slowly, and sometimes invisibly. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Your skills are sharpening. Your habits are strengthening. Your mindset is shifting. And one day, the results will appear so clearly that others will think it happened suddenly, not realizing that it came from hundreds of steady, disciplined days. The beauty of consistency is that it doesn't require perfection, it only requires persistence. You can have bad days, off moments, or setbacks and still be consistent as long as you return to the path. The people who fail are not the ones who make mistakes, they're the ones who stop trying. Consistency allows you to rise after every fall and try again with more wisdom, more clarity, and more strength. If you want lasting success, don't chase intensity, chase consistency. Build habits you can stick with, take actions you can repeat, focus on progress, not perfection. Show up on the days you don't feel like it just as much as the days you do, because the person who keeps showing up will always outperform the one who shows up only when it's convenient. In the end, consistency becomes your superpower. It transforms your dreams from ideas into reality. It turns effort into mastery. It turns discipline into freedom. And it ensures that whatever you build, whether it's success, confidence, or a new life, will last. Success grows from repetition, from the quiet and steady actions you choose to carry out day after day. It isn't shaped by sudden bursts of effort or occasional motivation. It's built by the simple decision to show up, even when the excitement is faded and the journey no longer feels glamorous. The truth is, the people who go the farthest in life are rarely the ones with the most natural talent. They're the ones who have learned to rely on discipline when passion disappears, who understand that growth isn't a one-time event but a continuous process. They show up in the moments when no one is watching, when progress feels slow, and when the temptation to quit whispers in their ear. Over time, that commitment forms the foundation of their success. Consistency is the bridge between desire and achievement. You can dream as big as you want, but dreams alone won't move you forward. Desire gives you direction, but consistency gives you motion. Every repeated action, every practice session, every study hour, every small step forms a link in that bridge. Each day you show up, you lay down another plank beneath your feet. Eventually, the bridge becomes sturdy enough to carry your potential to the other side. But it doesn't appear all at once. It grows slowly, one decision at a time, built from the everyday. Choices that seem insignificant in the moment, yet become powerful over months and years. What separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is persistence in the mundane. Anyone can feel driven when something is new or exciting. It's easy to put in the effort when motivation is flowing, and results show quickly. But motivation is temporary by nature. It rises and falls like a wave. The people who make real progress don't wait for the perfect mood. They understand that if they want long-term results, they cannot rely on short-term emotion. So they keep going even when they feel tired, discouraged, or unsure of themselves. They keep going when progress feels invisible. They keep going when growth is slow. And by doing so, they train themselves to choose discipline over mood more consistently than others. Every day you repeat an action, you reinforce a behavior. Every behavior you repeat becomes a habit, and every habit you build shapes your identity. When you consistently show up for something you say matters to you, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who hopes to change and start identifying as someone who does what's necessary to grow. That internal shift is more powerful than any quick burst of motivation, because once your identity changes, your actions naturally follow. Success becomes less about forcing effort and more about being the kind of person who follows through. But consistency isn't about perfection. Many people think that if they miss a day or slip up, they've failed. That belief stops more success than lack of talent ever does. The truth is that consistency allows room for mistakes. Progress doesn't require flawless execution. It only requires the willingness to return after you fall. Over time, the effort compounds. 10 imperfect days of showing up still produce more progress than one perfect day followed by giving up. The real power lies in returning again and again, even if each step feels small. Consistency also builds resilience. When you commit to repeated action, you inevitably encounter obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Every challenge you push through strengthens your ability to handle future difficulties. You learn patience, endurance, and emotional strength. These qualities become part of you, making you capable of achieving goals that once felt out of reach. The simple act of showing up becomes a form of self-trust. You no longer rely on circumstances to determine your effort, you rely on yourself. Success is not created in sudden leaps. It grows quietly in the routines you choose, in the moments when no one cheers for you, in the days you decide to push a little further than you did yesterday. It grows in the evenings you keep studying, the mornings you keep practicing, the habits you repeat, even when no immediate reward is in sight. And while it may feel slow at first, consistency eventually creates momentum. That momentum becomes progress, the progress becomes confidence, and the confidence becomes results. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural simply because you built the discipline to show up. In the end, consistency is not just a trait, it's a commitment to your own growth. It's the daily promise you make to your future self. And every time you keep that promise, you move closer to the life you want. Success isn't about how much you do in one moment of intensity, it's about what you choose to do repeatedly. One step at a time, one day at a time, you cross the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. Every small action you take matters more than you realize. It may feel insignificant in the moment, especially on days when progress seems invisible. You might wake up, go through your routines, complete tasks, or practice skills and think, does this even make a... The truth is that it does. Every small choice, every repeated effort, every tiny step contributes to a process far larger than any single action. Life rewards persistence in ways that often remain hidden at first. The compound effect of consistent action is invisible in the moment, but it is unstoppable over time. What seems small today will eventually build into something extraordinary. When you engage in consistent effort, something inside you begins to strengthen quietly. Your mind grows accustomed to discipline. You begin to trust yourself because you see evidence that you can follow through. Even when motivation fades or doubts creep in, your ability to persist becomes a muscle. Every day that you honor your commitments, even imperfectly, you train that muscle. The act of showing up repeatedly reinforces your capacity for resilience, focus, and determination. Over time, these qualities become automatic. You begin to rely less on fleeting inspiration and more on the strength you are quietly building within yourself. Skills also compound in the same way. Every repetition, every practice, every small improvement adds up. A single effort may seem insignificant. A few minutes of practice, a small decision to study, a tiny adjustment to your work, but repeated consistently, these efforts sharpen your abilities. You start noticing subtler details, making fewer mistakes, and performing with greater ease. What once felt difficult becomes natural. Mastery is not born in a single session of brilliance. It is created through the accumulation of countless small efforts. Each tiny action is a brick laid in the foundation of competence and expertise. Consistency also strengthens confidence. The more you do something, the more you realize you are capable. Confidence is not given, it is earned through evidence. When you repeatedly show up, take action, and follow through, you build undeniable proof that you can handle challenges. Even on days when results aren't visible, the process itself reinforces self-belief. You begin to trust your ability to face difficulties, adapt to setbacks, and continue moving forward. Confidence grows quietly but steadily, often unnoticed, until one day you look back and see how far you have come. That trust in yourself becomes unshakable because it is based on experience rather than hope. Momentum is the ultimate gift of consistency. Every small action contributes to a rhythm, a flow of progress that eventually becomes unstoppable. At first, the effect may feel imperceptible. It may feel like nothing is happening. But each repeated effort nudges the pendulum a little further. Over time, those nudges accumulate and momentum builds. You begin to move faster, achieve more, and create opportunities that seemed impossible before. This is the magic of compounding effort. The invisible work done consistently transforms into visible results that feel effortless only because of the groundwork you laid through countless small actions. The invisible progress of daily effort also teaches patience and humility. You learn that great achievements are rarely instantaneous. They require time, repetition, and perseverance. Patience becomes a natural byproduct of recognizing that even small actions are part of a larger process. Humility grows as you understand that success is not just about talent or luck, but about the dedication to keep showing up when no one is watching. You learn to value effort over instant gratification, knowing that the long-term effects of consistent action far outweigh the temporary satisfaction of shortcuts. Consistency also protects you from the weight of regret. Each day that you choose to act, you create momentum and prevent yourself from stagnating. You avoid the frustration of looking back and realizing that opportunities were wasted, that progress was possible but neglected. Small, repeated efforts act as a shield against future disappointment because they are investments in your growth. Even on days when progress seems invisible, those efforts are not wasted. They are silently preparing you for breakthroughs that are just around the corner. Every small action you take compounds over time, turning what feels like ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Discipline grows, skills sharpen, confidence strengthens, and momentum begins to carry you forward. What starts as tiny steps gradually becomes unstoppable force that propels you toward your goals. The power lies not in the magnitude of each effort, but in the consistency of your commitment. Success is not built in a single leap, but through countless small actions compounded over days, months, and years. By trusting the process and honoring the power of consistent effort, you create a life where breakthroughs are inevitable and momentum becomes unstoppable. Showing up when you're motivated is easy, when energy is high, when the vision feels clear, when inspiration strikes, anyone can take action. It feels natural, effortless, even enjoyable. Motivation creates momentum, and momentum makes tasks feel lighter and more exciting. But motivation is not constant. It fluctuates, rises, falls, and sometimes disappears entirely. If your success depends solely on feeling motivated, you will always be at the mercy of your emotions. You will start projects with enthusiasm only to abandon them when the initial thrill fades. You will dream of results, but your actions will be inconsistent, fragile, and unpredictable. The real test of commitment and the true mark of lasting success is showing up when motivation is absent. It is showing up when you are tired, when your body aches, when your mind is clouded by doubt, when distractions pull at your attention from every direction. These are the days that feel heavy, where the thought of doing anything productive seems exhausting. These are the days when excuses come easily, when avoidance seems like the safer choice. And yet, these are exactly the days that define who you are and what you are capable of achieving. Showing up in the face of resistance, doing the work when it is hardest, is what separates those who succeed from those who only wish for success. The challenges of tough days are where character is forged. There is a hidden strength that only emerges when you act despite discomfort. Each time you choose discipline over ease, each time you push through mental fatigue or physical strain, you are training your mind. You are proving to yourself that your actions do not need to rely on temporary emotions. Discipline becomes your anchor when motivation drifts away. Character is not built in comfort, nor is it strengthened by effortless victories. It is developed in struggle, in persistence, and in the willingness to continue when everything inside you resists. Resistance is a natural part of any worthwhile endeavor. It is the voice of fear, doubt, and habit telling you to quit or delay. It manifests as fatigue, procrastination, distraction, or inner excuses. Everyone experiences it, but only those who learn to move through it consistently, gain a competitive edge. Resistance is not your enemy, it is a teacher. It shows you the areas where your resolve is weak, where your patience needs strengthening, and where your commitment must grow. The more you confront resistance and act anyway, the more resilient your mind becomes. You develop the ability to continue working toward your goals even when external circumstances or internal feelings are less than ideal. Pushing through resistance is also a way of rewiring your relationship with discomfort. Most people naturally avoid pain, difficulty, or inconvenience. They wait for easier conditions, better moods, or more favorable circumstances before acting. But when you repeatedly show up despite difficulty, you teach yourself that discomfort is temporary and manageable. You learn that it is not a signal to stop, but a signal that you are growing. The mind begins to trust itself, and habits of perseverance replace habits of avoidance. Over time, the fear of struggle diminishes because you have proof that you can endure, adapt, and continue progressing even under less than perfect conditions. Discipline becomes your most reliable ally when you act regardless of motivation. Unlike motivation, which is fleeting, discipline is stable, measurable, and controllable. You can choose discipline every day, regardless of how you feel. When you cultivate it, you no longer rely on bursts of inspiration to fuel your efforts. Instead, you develop a steady rhythm, a daily practice that compounds into results. Motivation is the spark, discipline is the engine that carries you through the long journey. Without discipline, motivation alone is never enough to achieve lasting success. The long-term benefits of showing up on tough days are immense. Each time you push through fatigue, doubt, or distraction, you increase your self-trust. You learn that your potential is greater than your feelings. You prove to yourself that you are capable of commitment, consistency, and endurance. These victories may not always be visible in the moment, but they accumulate quietly, strengthening your mindset and preparing you for challenges far greater than what you face today. Momentum is born not from perfect days, but from imperfect days in which you refuse to quit. Eventually, the habit of showing up, regardless of motivation, transforms your entire approach to life. You no longer wait for ideal conditions. You stop using your feelings as an excuse to delay action. You develop the inner fortitude to continue despite obstacles, the persistence to keep moving when progress is slow, and the confidence to trust that effort compounds over time. These are the qualities that separate dreamers from achievers, wishful thinkers from doers, and ordinary effort from extraordinary results. Showing up when motivation is strong is easy. Showing up when it is absent is transformational. The real work, the true growth, and the lasting results all come from those moments when you push through resistance. By training your mind to rely on discipline instead of fleeting emotions, you build resilience, strengthen character, and create a foundation for success that cannot be shaken. This is where winners are made not in comfort, not in ease, but in the repeated, committed effort to show up, do the work, and move forward no matter how hard it feels. Consistency is far more than just doing something repeatedly. It is the invisible thread that weaves who you are into the person you are becoming. Every time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you reinforce a message to yourself. You are reliable, capable, and disciplined. Over time, these repeated actions do more than produce results. They shape your identity. When you consistently show up, work toward your goals, and honor the promises you make to yourself, you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer view yourself as someone who tries and fails, someone who gives up when challenges appear, or someone who hopes for change but waits for it to happen. Instead, you start to see yourself as a person who takes responsibility, who finishes what you start, and who can be counted on to persevere. The power of consistency lies in its ability to transform self-perception. Most people underestimate how much their identity is influenced by the actions they take day in and day out. When you repeatedly engage in behaviors that align with your goals, your mind internalizes these actions as part of who you are. You stop thinking of discipline as a temporary effort. It becomes a natural expression of your character. You no longer have to rely solely on motivation or willpower because your habits have redefined your sense of self. You trust yourself because you have proven again and again that you are capable of following through. This trust in yourself is foundational. Without it, your goals remain fragile and dependent on external factors such as inspiration, opportunity, or luck. But when consistency becomes part of your identity, you no longer need to wait for the perfect circumstances. You act because actions become a reflection of who you are, not just something you do when conditions feel right. This self-trust grows quietly, sometimes imperceptibly, but its effects are profound. Every decision to persist, every commitment you honor, builds confidence and resilience that cannot be taken away. Consistency also redefines your relationship with challenges. When you identify as someone who finishes what you start, setbacks become temporary obstacles rather than reflections of your worth. You understand that encountering difficulties is not a sign of failure, it is simply part of the journey. The identity of a consistent person is rooted in persistence, not perfection. You learn to keep moving, keep trying, and keep refining your approach, knowing that the effort itself shapes who you are. This mindset reduces fear of failure because you know that quitting is not part of your identity. You are someone who continues even when the path is hard. The shift in identity that comes from consistency has a compounding effect on every area of your life. Once you internalize the belief that you are reliable and capable, your actions begin to reflect that belief in ways beyond your immediate goals. You become a person who can be trusted by others, someone who honors commitments in relationships, career, and personal growth. You develop a reputation not just for your skills or intelligence, but for your steadfastness and perseverance. That reputation opens doors, builds credibility, and attracts opportunities that align with your character. Success no longer depends solely on what you do. It begins to flow naturally from who you have become. Habits are a central component of this identity shift. Every habit you cultivate through consistent effort reinforces the story you tell yourself about who you are. When you consistently practice a skill, maintain a routine, or uphold a value, it solidifies into part of your character. The mind starts to see these actions as automatic, as part of your nature rather than a temporary effort. This automaticity reduces reliance on willpower and makes sustained success much more achievable. Consistency transforms effort from something external into an intrinsic expression of self. Moreover, consistency strengthens long-term vision and patience. When you see yourself as someone who can persist over time, you become more willing to invest in efforts that may not yield immediate results. You develop the ability to delay gratification, knowing that meaningful progress often grows slowly and steadily. This patience allows you to engage in practices that compound over years, creating outcomes far greater than short-term bursts of effort could ever achieve. Your identity as a consistent person equips you to navigate long journeys without losing focus or confidence. Finally, consistency provides a foundation for every success that follows. Achievements, breakthroughs, and milestones are built upon repeated action. When your identity is rooted in perseverance, each success reinforces your belief in yourself, which in turn fuels further effort and growth. You are no longer chasing validation from others or relying on external motivation. You act from a place of self-trust, conviction, and alignment with your true capabilities. Every small step you take is not just a step toward your goal, it is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Consistency shapes identity, builds self-trust, strengthens resilience, and lays the foundation for lasting success. The more you honor your commitments, the more you see yourself as someone who can achieve, endure, and grow. This identity shift becomes the core of your potential, transforming your actions into a reflection of your character. In this way, every consistent effort, no matter how small, becomes a building block of both personal transformation and long-term achievement. The person who shows up again and again doesn't just reach their goals, they become the kind of person capable of achieving greatness over and over.